Hey, what's up guys, Ravenclaw here, and welcome to my BM Hunter PvP guide for 7.3. Now, there's not much that has changed, well, a little bits and pieces between 7.25 and now, but I wanted to show you the playstyle because BM Hunters, as we all know, have pretty much disappeared from the map of the PvP scene. We've got Survival and Marksman. I will do guides on both of those as well, but I have been experimenting with the BM Hunter over the last couple of days, and we've come up with a really solid burst spec if you're playing, say, Thug or KFC. I will show you some clips of us just basically one-shotting someone and on how to do that. Okay, so let's firstly look at the talents that we need to look at. Oh my god, what am I saying? Okay, these are the talents we need to look at taking, and I'll tell you a few variations based on comps. So, first one being Way of the Cobra. Now, as we know, the pets are out, your Cobra shot does more damage, and in this sort of look, if you're doing threes, you're looking to kill a single target. So this is the main talent to choose in the first tier. Second tier, we want to go with Dire Frenzy. Two reasons. Dire Frenzy hits like a truck, but it also allows your pet to attack faster, and that's what you want when you're going for a kill. The next one is our Mobility. We want to keep Post Haste, purely for the freedom that we get, and to be able to either close gaps or, you know, get to safety if we're falling a bit behind to reset. The next tier, this is Situational. Now, I changed this out based on the comp we're up against. I go against, say, for example, RMD, and say we want to go with the Mage. Having my pets able to blink across map to keep up with the Mage, or say, you know, we swap into a Druid, or you get the idea. This is what I normally would take against that sort of comp. If we're going up, say, like a, you know, Turbo, and we're going to focus on a Warrior or something like that, I would go with more of a bursty spec. But this, what we're going to be talking about to sort of bring the BM Hunters back into the scene, is your more upfront burst. And as a BM Hunter, we've basically got every 1 minute we've got something to shoot at the target, you know, something big to hand over to the target there. The next one, Situational again, but you'll see with this, as we are standing now, we basically have a small window to just nuke someone down. Okay, now we'll talk about comps later, but in the videos you'll see us, I took Intimidation, and that was because I wanted to use that to stop the target for our Basilisk, whilst my Warrior and me burst the crap out of him. So the Warrior or Pally or whoever you're going with will stun the healer. I will sit on the healer through the stun and then drop the trap just out of the end of it, because what will happen then is if they, you know, for example, trinket the first stun, they're sitting in the trap. Or if they wait and then they're going to trinket the trap, the Warrior can go in with a Fear. We've got that sort of control whilst I'm just unloading everything into the target. But, you know, if you're going up with something a bit more, you want to be able to peel, you would go for a Binding Shot. The next one here, I only go with Murder of Crows because, once again, we're going for a single target takedown. And that's why people go with Marksman, because of a lot of AoE pressure with Mark Shot, Volley, and all that other stuff. And this one here, Killer Cobra, if we're going for a burst out spec, or if we want to, if we're going to sort of know that the fight's going to drag on and we want to be able to keep, you know, the peels up or anything like that, we want to go with Aspect of the Beast. For this, every time you use Kill Command, it will slow the target. Now into the Honor talents, I'm just going to quickly go through these. I always go with Gladiator's Medallion, just to have my freedom on call all the time. It's just how I've always liked to play. The next tier down, this one can be switched out as however you feel fit, but I usually go with Initiation, because the further we can get, and if we can stay above 80% health, we do have that increased damage. This one here, great for going up against Athlok. So what you'll do with this is you'll wait for them to cast all 3 UAs. You'll see it. It'll be 3 UAs, then they'll pop Dark Soul, and then they'll start Drain Souling you. What you want to do is then you use Feign Death, and you'll wipe out the whole thing, and they've just wasted their burst. And that's great for your healer, because you'll do that. It's on a cooldown for 30 seconds. Then your healer will be able to cleanse the next round, and then by the time it comes around again, you've got that up. This is against some melees like DK, your warriors and whatnot, rogues. I would take this with this if I'm going up against an Affliction Lock or Shadow Priest, because it basically silences them the next after they use the next thing. This could be great for, you know, you've used that, you've already cleansed, then you can pop that out to stop the next round of UAs, and you can sort of mix it up. Viper Sting is if you're going against, say, a Druid, because this is basically the best against a Druid. A Resto Druid. And if you're going to switch to the Druid, you pop that on there, and that'll reduce all that overall healing. Plus you've got your Scorpion, or if you're with a Warrior, Mortal Wounds on top of that. Okay, the next one. This one you can choose to pick whichever one you want. I usually run with the Beast Within, okay, because it reduces the Bestial Wrath cooldown. But if I know that my healer is going to get trained, or if we're going to go some really bursty comps, say, just say like Turbo, I would put this on. It has been reduced. It was 15% damage reduction, but now it's down to 10. But it can be, you know, anything to help out something that you know that one of your teammates may end up getting just destroyed. Something we can help out. Now this one here, this one has been so annoying. This is what they've changed on us a lot. Okay, we used to have our, you know, spam kill command when they're under 30%. We've lost our kill shot. We've lost everything. So Dire Basilisk is pretty much the only way that I can see. Like Interlope is okay. Basically, it's a redirect of a spell like a poly or whatever, and it will go to your pet. But Dire Basilisk is great for two things. One, offensive. So like if we're going to burst someone, I'll use Intimidation, lock them down. We've got the healer on lockdown, and we pop Dire Basilisk, slow them, keep them slowed so the Basilisk can keep up with them, and just pop everything on top of that. Alternatively, if your healer's getting wrecked, you can get, as soon as you drop the Basilisk out, you can get your healer to sort of stay within that range, because it's just going to start pumping damage into the target, and it's either going to force them out, or we can actually then control them and burst them down through that. But it's very situational on top of all this. Okay, so the comps that I usually run will be either Thug, Jungle, or KFC, which is your Warrior, Hunter, and Healer. And pretty much the only thing that we have as a BM Hunter, like I said, is a small window to do our damage, okay? And what I might do, instead of doing it on the training dummy, I might actually show you a couple of clips that I took the other day when I teamed up with a bunch of randoms just for, you know, something to do. But then we worked out a really, you know, good way of just one-shotting people, and we actually did pretty well. So let's have a look at that. Alright, so let's have a closer look at what happened there. The important thing is to really communicate with your team as a BM, otherwise this is going to come out into a really prolonged game. So if you look closely, Warrior Stormbolt's the healer, okay? We're waiting for a trinket. Now he didn't trinket, which is fine, because then I launched a trap, so he's sitting now in an 8-second trap. Now if, like I said, if he does break this, you can follow it with a fear or a clone. So he didn't trinket it, he underestimated the power of both of us, and as you can see right now, our healer is in position to go into a clone, which was perfect because, hey, watch what happens. And he trinkets at the last second. GG. Alright guys, so this game, I wanted to show you the other side of things. When things don't go, you know, flat out straight at the start of the game, and you have to rejigger yourself to go back and do a one-shot. Now, what happened is they wanted to go to the mage. We weren't 100% committed to the mage, and what happened was it was just getting too sloppy, and yeah. What you need to do in this situation is take a step back from the fight, wait for your cooldowns to come back around, because as a BM, it's literally, you only have that 1 minute window with Basilisk to just go to town on a target, okay? And so what happened is we regrouped, we got Dispersion out of the Priest, cooldowns out of the Resto Shaman and his Trinket, and we said, alright, let's go for it. But firstly, the healer was in position, but he was polyed. So I said, okay, let's start forcing some pressure into the Priest. I popped my main cooldowns, my Basilisk is still on cooldown, alright? but that's fine. But what the goal is here is to lock out the healer. So my healer saw that the priest, the mage, his kick was down, got the healer into a clone. I dropped a binding shot when I pulled out my basilisk to control the priest, and we just launched everything into him because he runs into my, as you can see, he runs into my binding shot, gets stunned right at the mouth of the basilisk, and by the time the healer had dropped his everything else, the priest was dead. Alright guys, so that is pretty much all I have for the BM Hunter. Now, as you can see, it really relies on all your moons aligning with all your cooldowns with the basilisk and controlling a target fully and locking out your enemy's healer. It really will rely on communication with your team, and just if you've got a good synergy either way, you're going to do well. Now, the BM Hunter can do a both good AoE, right, and great single target damage. Now, the reason why people don't choose BM is because simply you've got the survival hunter at the moment is just really good at just locking down targets with a lot of output damage, and your MM is great for some AoE pressure plus some single target burst. Now, with the downside to BM, yes, Basilisk is great if you do get the landing on the kill target, but it can be CC'd, it can be, you know, locked out. People that know the class will look for that, and then I'll, you know, find an alternative arrangement to get away from the Basilisk. The end of the day, don't give up on the BM. The BM, basically any class and spec can get over 2k. Like, that's just the way it is. I don't care what anyone says. As long as you just focus, find out what your weaknesses are and make it work for you, it will happen. Just hang in there, guys. The BM will be back soon enough. I just want to take some time to sort of show you guys what I've come up with to sort of bring the BM back into the game. If you enjoyed this type of guide, more of a game overview and talk about bits and pieces as we play, let me know, because aside from doing a lot of PvE stuff, I am going to be doing a lot more PvP stuff as well. As you guys know, the content's starting to flow out. Let me know down below if you want this sort of guide for MM and survival. I'll be more than happy to do that next. But other than that, you know, you keep on sniping, guys. Hang in there, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care.